We will have Darn A Trip NBC7 on the show coming up at 5 p.m. And we do have tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. A pair of tickets to see New Kids on the Block July 7th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Before we get started, I would say for the 11th time since the start of Jon and Jim, I got a text from Jim
11
saying I'm going to be late. Now, I've texted Jim before saying the same thing. Hey, I'm stuck in traffic. Hey, I'm driving from LA like an idiot on a Friday. Like, I need to get downtown, and I didn't make it.
That was horrible.
So I'd say collectively, we've done it to each other like 17 times, text each other over like 3 years saying like, dude, we're not going to make it. I want to say you're undefeated at making it on time. Have you been late for Jon and Jim? I have. Maybe a couple of times.
Honestly, Jon, there's only been maybe 1 or 2 times where I walked in at like 2:55.
Right. So you've always made it by 3.
Oh, yeah.
You've always been, which honestly is amazing. This is like me having to be like dumped on the radio for cursing. Like, you're the guy that's late to everything. I was at your rehearsal dinner. You're like, I was late to everything my whole life. Jon knows, YouTube show. Yet, and Jim texts me, he's like, I'm in standstill traffic. There's no way I'm going to make it on time. And he shows up like 10 minutes later. I'm like, what happened to the standstill traffic?
I left at 1:45.
Oh, it was 1:50 is what you told me earlier.
Or 1:50, whatever. 1:45, 1:50. And it probably takes me about 20-ish minutes to get here.
20 minutes
about
away.
20 minutes, right? And I get on to the 15, and it just goes dead.
Traffic.
Like, standstill traffic. I'm like, this is new. Because there's really never standstill traffic there.
Not heading probably north. You're probably seeing volume coming south.
Was it the 63? I forget what highway it was. But anyway, that's the 15 over here, right?
I have no idea.
Okay. But usually it's maybe a little stop and go, but nothing like it was today. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to take me forever. And that's when I texted you.
And I texted back, I don't care.
You said, well, yeah.
I said, no one cares.
No one cares.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the new rule.
Okay.
If you are ever going to be late, don't tell me.
Well,
and here's why.
Why?
We're fine. Now, if I'm going to be late, I will let you know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, I'm saying like by texting someone, I'm not going to make it. I mean, what do you think I'm going to do? Like, change everything around? I'm just going to do the show either way.
So if I did not text you,
I would just
and
do the
I
show.
did not show up,
I'd be ripping you.
You'd be like, where is Jim?
Would I call police? No. Because I know you're always late.
Out on Jim.
But
yeah,
like,
I know you text me if I text you back. I guess if you didn't text me for like 6 hours, I would maybe call like your mom.
I just remember, you remember when Randy's opened and Jim texted us, he's like, I'm in line for donuts, but I'm going to be late. And we're like, so stay in line for donuts.
Like,
and he's like, oh, but I'm going to be late. We're like, we don't care. Bring donuts.
Were you late for donuts?
Well, I told you guys about
he ended up being on time that time too.
Dude, we were 5 days ago.
I like to be on time.
5 days ago, you find out at 3 p.m. The Green Power Ranger is here, and you leave the show. So why would I be concerned? Why would I be concerned if you're going to be late? Where you truly left the first segment of the show to take pictures with a power whatever.
So what you're telling me right now is that tomorrow, when I don't show up for the first segment of the show, you're just gonna be like, okay.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Okay.
And to your credit, you've always made it on time, which is really a credit to you.
If I was not here, though, you wouldn't be sitting here being like,
I would rip you for the whole segment.
Like,
that would
Jim?
be the content. Like,
for
the
content.
thing is, I would just be like, Jim this, Jim that. He's never on time, even though you're kind of. But I guess my point is, you're always on time. Like you always fear the worst, don't you? You're like, dude, the Warriors are down 2-0 in the NBA Finals. They're losing this game. Right? Aztecs are down 3-2 Wyoming. They're losing this game.
Yes.
I'm in traffic. I'm 55 minutes out. I'm not making that time. And everything always ends up fine.
It's better to be like courteous than not at all. I mean, if you didn't text me and you were late, I would rip you. And then I'd be like, what the hell? Why didn't you text me? And the same thing I think would apply for you. Like, why didn't you text me? You're going to be late.
We have breaking news. The Lakers will take Bronny James with the 55th overall pick per Shams Charania. The story writes itself, obviously.
It really does.
Earlier in the day, we found out the power agent, Rich Paul, was telling teams, don't take Bronny. He will play overseas because, surprisingly, there was a likely destination, and that destination is Los Angeles. Now, it's kind of ironic that Shams is the one that breaks this. This is the ultimate, sham in professional sports. The idea that a player that if he didn't share the same last name with LeBron James, we've seen all these high caliber players.
And I told Jair, if this was Rick James' kid instead of LeBron's James' kid, he would not be drafted.
I mean, we all know that. It's like, this was so predictable. You almost hoped that it wouldn't actually play out this way, and here we are. And it's played out the way that it's been written on the wall for months.
Here's my thing, quick. Why did you even enter the draft? If you're going to enter the draft and then go, well, if anybody drafts me that's not my dad's team, I'll go to Australia. Then why didn't you just stay out of the draft and then just go sign as a free agent with the Lakers? What the hell was the point of even entering the draft?
So if I were the Lakers here, the only way this makes any sense, and the only way that I feel like they're not going to, well, they're going to get ripped for it. But if they just say, look, we're drafting you, but you're playing the entire season in the G League. Like, I'm sorry, we are not going to put you up to the NBA roster here where you're taking up a roster spot. We want you to develop more.
Sure.
We drafted you because you're always here. We understand that. We see some value in you, but you're not ready yet. And we kind of think you're not ready yet either. So the entire season, you're playing in the G League, and we have your rights.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you can go and develop. And when you're ready, we'll bring you up to the NBA roster here. But until then, G League the entire time. If he starts the year on the NBA roster, John, then you're right. This is a complete sham. And it's a joke that the Lakers are basically doing all of this to appease to LeBron hiring JJ Redick, the podcaster, and then drafting his son who's not ready yet.
And like, consider this also. I think it's a complete disservice to Bronny James to put him in the NBA as a 19-year-old coming off what happened last year with the cardiovascular. He barely played in college, and you're going to sit him. You're going to play this guy a couple of minutes a game over the course of the season. He's going to play 100, 200 minutes in the NBA when he should be playing 32 minutes in the Power 5 or at wherever at high-level college basketball. He should be properly developed. So it's not right to anyone involved. Yeah, LeBron's going to get his wish. He gets to play with his son. And that's great. Honestly, that's an amazing experience.
It really is.
I'm sure it is. That's incredible. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I have no idea. Bronny might be a very good player one day. It honestly isn't a knock on Bronny, but it is a knock on him now because you've got all these capable names on the board and you got someone that hasn't yet earned it, Jim. Sports are about earning. It just always is. It's about who's best. Now, we talk about it. Sometimes money talks, and sometimes first-round picks get more chances than 10th-round picks in baseball. We understand it, but, like, this doesn't seem right to me, and it's not to knock Bronny James. He may be good at one point, but it's also a disservice to him because what type of opportunity should he truly have in the NBA next year? He shouldn't have an opportunity.
Here's the thing. So, different, obviously, but you can kind of see a little bit of parallel potentially going into his first ever game in the NBA. He's going to be a target because of everything that we're talking about right now by way better players in the league. Like if Bronny gets any minutes on the court in any meaningful time, which I would highly doubt, honestly. The only time Bronny's going to be on the court is like garbage time.
Up 30, down 30?
Yeah. But if he happened to make it on the court in like a second quarter, like start of a second, or like, you know what I mean?
Right. Like 8 straight minutes to start the second quarter in a tie game.
You don't think that every other player on the other team that's guarding Bronny or having them guard him or whatever the case may be, they're going to go at him so much harder because he's LeBron James' son. And oh, by the way, he's just not good enough yet. And you kind of saw that a little bit here with Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. She was getting, the same thing with a lot of other players. Like she is the biggest name in that sport by a mile. A bunch of other players in that league are jealous and don't like that she's getting all the attention. And you saw kind of like the yin and yang there of like maybe some pettiness and here and there. I'm not saying that it's pettiness for Bronny, but it's going to be like, really, bro? Are you serious right now? The only reason why you got drafted is because you're LeBron James' son. You ain't scoring a bucket on me, bro.
He shot 36% from the floor. He played 19 minutes a game. He averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2 assists in 25 games at SC as a freshman. Don't tell me that that's abnormal to go from that to the NBA. because everyone knows it is. Like, don't tell. Now, I'm not saying he can't develop. There's a zillion examples of guys as freshmen and sophomore then bursting onto the scene as juniors and seniors. A zillion examples. But he needs time. I mean, that's clear as day.
Yeah.
That's clear as day that he needs time. Here's the other thing. When I think about it from a Lakers perspective, you got this proud franchise, 17 rings. Don't treat this like it's a marketing play.
It's
like
a marketing play.
you're in the business
They
of
already
winning.
are.
You're in the business of winning. You got 17 titles, and it's a marketing play from the LA Lakers.
Did you just see their war room? They're up jumping around,
sure they
high-fiving and shaking hands like they just drafted
Right,
Shaq.
right.
It's like you guys
Like
drafted
he
a
fell
dude
to
that.
them.
Well, yesterday we're kind of looking in amazement at all these like guys that win the top like 5 that were all these Euro guys that they averaged less than 10 points, less than 10 boards, and now here's Bronny less than 5 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, and they're all acting like the
Steal
Lakers,
the draft.
like they're back. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it sucks that we're talking about Bronny in the sense of like he did something wrong.
No, it's not
You
on
know,
Bronny.
But that's the thing is like
Yeah.
he didn't do anything wrong at all. He's just is LeBron James' son, and
that has good and that has bad.
Yeah, there's nothing that he could do about it. But also, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of NBA prospects that aren't going to be drafted being like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Jalen
staring
Ledee.
down Keyshawn Johnson and Jaden Ledee with 2 picks to go.
Power forward of the year in
Right.
college basketball.
Again, different positions, but your
Different
point's valid.
position,
But
yeah.
it does take a pick.
Yeah.
Some would argue it's better to go undrafted than drafted
Right,
late. You get
right.
your spot.
You can
right.
pick your spot. But this whole thing was a play to get Bronny to the Lakers
That's for sure.
by talking about, hey, if you draft us, then we're just going to Australia. So don't draft us because
Right.
we're going to pick our spot.
I so wanted someone to call their bluff and just be like, fine, go to Australia.
Right.
And then you have this whole situation where the entire draft now, John, the recaps, guess what the number one talking point is?
Of course, this is bigger than Zach Reese-Shea.
It's bigger than anybody in the draft.
Alex Sarr.
The 55th pick in the NBA draft is the biggest talking point
We knew it would
with
be.
the entire NBA conversation now until free agency kicks off and you get trades and you get other signings and whatnot. And that's what it's going to be about. Everything on First Take, on Get
it's
Up,
made for First
it
Take.
is literally just going to
It's made
make
for
my
it.
head explode because that's going to be the number one topic tomorrow morning is Bronny and the Lakers.
How about this? So we had Alan Slewa on like 2 months ago. He said JJ Redick's going to be the next head coach. And then there was all this back and forth.
Yeah,
and JJ
yeah.
Redick was the next head coach.
Right.
We had Alan on then 2 weeks after. I said, whether you like it or not, the Lakers are going to take Bronny at 55. And then Bronny ends up to the Lakers at 55. As in, a lot of this story was written. The JJ Redick thing was written on the wall a long time ago. The Bronny James dynamic here has been written. This story's been written. This was always going to play out this way. I'm with you on that. It's like, if you're Bronny, it's amazing. The
Father-son.
That's amazing. And being the son of LeBron James has these amazing perks and amazing benefits. And he's a very good basketball player. Let's be honest. Who,
Bronny?
Just in general, I'm sure he's in the standard of the world, he's a very good basketball player.
You could go to a pickup game with a bunch of other really good players and be one of the best players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, that's my general point. He's 19 years of age. He had a huge cardiovascular issue a year ago.
Yes, that was,
and I said it earlier. We both did. I'm just saying, I feel as if it's unfair to him to not let him properly develop because there's a lot of examples of someone like him that when given a second, third, fourth year, really ascends and takes off and grows into themselves. But it's almost like this story is being written for him by other people.
It is. It's unfortunate. It sucks because, like, again, you have nothing against Bronny.
No,
nothing.
It's not about Bronny. It really isn't. But it really isn't.
But I think what people get upset about the most is that it is 100%, whether they tell us or not, gifted to him because of his last name, because of who his dad is. And when that happens with anybody in professional sports, no one likes it. Like, people don't like things being gifted to people without working hard. I'm not saying Bronny doesn't work hard.
No,
he does.
Exactly.
But also, we all know, and a lot of people smarter than us that know basketball know that he's just not ready and he's not good enough to be drafted in the NBA draft. Play in the NBA one day? Yeah, sure. But right now, being drafted, people are like, dude, come on. Really? And that's where people get upset. They're not upset at Bronny. They're not upset that he's LeBron James' son. They're upset because he's LeBron James' son. He's being gifted this opportunity, it feels like, by the Lakers of all teams, when there are other players more deserving of Bronny to be drafted in that spot because they're better than Bronny.
Just go back to school for a year. It's your life. You know you're not ready.
He's not going back to school.
Well, I know that. I'm saying he had the choice. He
Yeah.
could have, instead of just letting his dad make the decision for him.
It feels a bit
It's
like
his
he,
life.
he made his decision for himself.
But,
like,
I don't think he did.
But you kind of get pointed. You know, it's like I agree with you. I think ultimately he's a man, he's an adult. He probably is the one that makes the decision. But like
pressure,
if you're
sure,
exact the pressure, it's like an arranged marriage a little bit. It feels, to some extent, it feels like that. Like, it's not that is always the worst thing in the world. I'm sure it isn't, but sometimes you wish the decision was made maybe solely by Bronny, and maybe it was. Maybe this was a decision made by Bronny. But again, Jim, like if our parents tell us to do something, there's a good chance you're going to kind of listen to your parents. I don't know what LeBron is saying internally, but I know what LeBron has said over the last 24 months. I want to play with my son before I retire.
Yeah.
And I will go anywhere to do that.
Yep, and that was something
the writing was on the
tried
wall.
to walk back.
Yeah, but you can't do it now.
You can't do it because
Yeah,
now everyone
now
knows.
look,
Yeah,
it's
like,
true.
That's what happened.
What he said was true.
Yes. Oh man,
It's weird.
It's
a story.
Do you think?
It's a huge, massive national story.
Bro, my entire
I know.
timeline right
It's
now
not about
is
it.
Bronny.
Of course it is.
And you just
could you imagine if Michael Jordan made the Bulls draft his son that averaged like 2 points a game in Illinois?
Right.
Yeah, my entire timeline is Bronny right now. And the fact that this is going to overshadow the entire draft is crazy because how many points he averaged last year? Like
4.8.
And how many games?
36% shooting. 25 games, 19 minutes.
Put it this way, he had so few highlights that they had to show like footage of his training combine.
Right.
Well, it also speaks to the draft too. Like this year's draft, especially how bad it is.
Maybe. Yeah. Although I almost wonder if it was this powerhouse draft, if they would have
done it anyways.
But the thing is, like, also you have players that we've seen that are pretty good prospects, like from San Diego State and Jalen Ledee and Keyshawn Johnson.
And there's others, obviously.
There's others for sure. There's a ton of players that I'm sure are going to be picked up here and be undrafted.
Immediately.
And I would bet you, John, at least one undrafted rookie like sticks in a big way.
Oh, absolutely. You're 100% right. There'll be undrafted rookies that stick on an NBA roster as rookies. There'll be guys that go undrafted. Maybe they end up on a two-way contract, but then there's an injury or a circumstance that puts that player on the roster for the entire year. So there's 2 picks left in the draft. I think a lot of people would have been surprised if Keyshawn Johnson didn't hear his name. 4 years on the Mesa, 1 year at Arizona. Very good college player. Unbelievable athlete. Great story out of Oakland. Now, he still may get drafted. There's 2 picks on the board. Same thing with Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, he still may be, with Jaden Ledee, he still may be drafted. Although, again, the story for Keyshawn, or for Jaden, I'm getting confused right now, has been told to us because he didn't get an invite to the NBA Combine. I'm like, why didn't he get an invite to the NBA Combine? And then he was in the G League Combine and he didn't play up. So his age is being held against him. Okay, so be it. I hope he ends up in the right spot. I hope both end up in the right spot, both Keyshawn Johnson and Jaden Ledee, whether they're drafted with these final 2 picks or not.
And frankly, sometimes it's best to pick a situation that fits you the best.
I agree with that.
Instead of having it be picked for you. Because it's all about fit. It's all about organization that you go to. And whatever organization signs those 2 players as undrafted rookie free agents, I think we'll both say like, oh, that's a good spot.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, because this happens a lot in the NFL. Like it's rare that late pick works out well for all parties. Brock Purdy, amazing. I mean, amazing to get drafted. He wasn't chosen drafted by the right team that late and then really pay dividends. You almost sometimes say it would be better maybe to just have my pick of the litter.
Like Kurt Warner. I mean, Cruz for the Giants. I'm blanking on his first name.
Victor.
Victor Cruz.
Oh yeah.
Like
Cruz,
a couple undrafted
Yep,
free agents
absolutely.
right there that turned out to be
really good players,
amazing players.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
it's about fit. It's about organization. And with Jaden and Keyshawn, wherever they go and whatever team they sign with, I think we'll both be saying, yeah, that makes sense.
I agree with you.
But
All
it
right.
does suck though that they're not going to get their names called.
Well, we'll see. There's two. No,
picks?
one pick remaining because
One pick,
a
yeah.
Cameroonian center, if that's the right term for someone from Cameroon, has just gone 57th overall. All right, on the other side, Padres and Red Sox kicking off a series at Fenway tomorrow night. First time the Padres have been in Boston since 2013. Plus, Darnay Tripp, NBC7 will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Plus, we have tickets to see New Kids on the Block that we'll give away next hour. It's Jon and Jim. All right, Padres trying to avoid doing something they did recently as they get set for the Red Sox. We'll explain coming up next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Breaking news in the NBA. Actually, not really breaking news because we all predicted it and it was all talked about and it actually happened. Bronny James got drafted by the Lakers at pick number 55 in the second round. First father and son combo to play on the same team in NBA history. And Padres, they have an off day today. They are rolling. They hopefully will keep rolling into Boston as they'll take on the Red Sox starting tomorrow night. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even on the same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
All right, hit us up. Open the free iHeartRadio app, listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button to leave a 30-second talk back. I have a feeling within the hour we'll know where Keyshawn Johnson and Jaden Ledee have landed because you're already seeing tweets of players being signed that went undrafted. So stand by. When that news breaks, we'll react to it.
By the way, Nike, they were ready for this moment, John. They just released a new, I guess, ad for Bronny.
With LeBron and Bronny?
Just Bronny.
Just for Bronny.
It's actually more of a just a picture, but they posted
Okay.
it on at Nike Basketball on X. And it said, the journey continues. Welcome to the big stage, Bronny. There's two pictures. There's one of Bronny when he was very young and one of him right now. It says, pressure was never a question when passion has always been the answer.
Is he going to get a shoe?
Maybe. Do you think that'd be funny?
One day, maybe.
Man, poor Bronny.
All right. So Padres are opening a road trip. This is the first time we went the first 30 minutes of the show without mentioning the Padres in a long time. But the Padres will open a road trip in Boston tomorrow at 4:10. Kevin Acee will join us tomorrow in the 3 o'clock hour. So will Will Fleming, radio voice of the Boston Red Sox. But what I mentioned there in the tease, so to speak, was the Padres are trying to do something that they just recently did, or the opposite of it, which is win on the road. They're trying to win on the road. Like, at one point this year, the Padres were among the best road teams in baseball, 19-10 at one point. Then they go to Kansas City. Bless you. They blow a final game in Kansas City with Yuki Matsui on the mound, and that begins a 9-game road losing streak that was snapped in Philadelphia when they beat Ranger Suarez, a very good win about a week or so ago. So can the Padres, turn things around on the road? Because everything's been great at home. It really has. We said it yesterday. They followed a 5-2 homestand with a 6-1 homestand, 11-3 in their last 14 home games. However, and it's a big however, on the road, Jim, they're 1-9 in their last 10 games, and the next 6 will be played on the road. So are they a new and improved Padres team? Maybe we'll find out over the next 6 games.
It's hard to say they're not playing their best baseball this season right now,
They
right?
have to be.
Because what else other than right now do you have to go off on? Yes, they could probably play better, you could say, but we don't know what's going to happen the next 70 games. So all we have is what we've seen in the first 80 plus, which is right now, at this very moment, this is the best the Padres have played all season long. Would you agree?
I would agree with that.
Okay. Now, the next question that I think fans are sitting there kind of hoping doesn't happen is what's happened this year when we thought they were playing their best stretch of baseball, or at least close to it, or about to play their best stretch of baseball, and then they lose like 4 or 5, or they get swept by the Angels or the Rockies or whoever, right? And then you go to you say to yourself, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing, and this is I would say, this road trip right now, it's so important for this team for the rest of the season going forward. It feels like, because if you have a bad road trip, then we're right back to square one.
And if imagine nobody wants to, but to your point, let's say 2-4 trip or worse. Just hear me out. It's not the end of the world from a standings or a record perspective, but you go 2-4 or 1-5 on the road coming up here, and all of a sudden you look up, you're like, we're 2-14 in our last 16 road games or something crazy like that. So it's been very good at home. What's so weird about this, Jim, is it's completely turned. In fact, Manny even talked about it within the last week. Like, we were good on the road and terrible at home. And then you guys talked about it and we were good at home and terrible on the road. It's kind of hard to fully understand.
Really hard to
It's
understand.
been a roller coaster.
It's been a roller coaster.
So this now it won't be a roller coaster if this is a good trip.
Yeah.
If this is a 5-1 trip and they get to 7 games over 500,
5-1.
I mean they're 7-1 in their last 8.
I would take 3-3.
I would too, but I'm saying if it's a 5-1 trip, if it's a 4-2 trip,
4-2 trip would
then
be
all of a
great.
sudden I'm not going to say it's a roller coaster anymore.
No.
I'm just going to be like they're on a complete high.
Then it will feels like they kind of stabilize things and gave them a little breathing room and also gave them confidence that they aren't that roller coaster team, that they aren't a team that Jerks and Profar said at times they find ways to lose, or a team that doesn't play well against the bad teams in baseball. It will feel like, all right, we now can be comfortable with who we are. We're a good baseball team, and we're going to go forward with that assumption and that belief.
Yes.
And not have this feeling of like, oh no, when's the other shoe going to drop type of thing. And I think the fans will feel that way too. If they have a good road trip here, and if they do have a good rest of the first half into the All-Star break, like 5 or 6 games above 500, then there's real like confidence there that this team figured itself out, stabilized things, they're overcoming injuries, and that will be the only question left to see how this team responds in the long term with all the injuries they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they have the good trip that we're discussing now, and there's a big difference, good trip, bad trip, but if it's a good trip, 4-2, then you start talking about how were you bolstering in July if you're AJ. Like, I'm all positive at that point if I'm the organization. Like, what am I doing to best position myself in the coming weeks and months for a postseason spot? I mean, that's what you're thinking internally as an organization, because they're going to be 90+ games in, while other teams might have played 6, 7, 8 games fewer than them. The Padres have played a bulk of their games by the All-Star break. It's not even close. They'll have played like 100+ games at the All-Star break with 60, something like that remaining. So you begin to have a feel for who they are. Remember, we said this last year. I think we were in Vegas, actually, at Circa. We said, I'm like, they're 100 games in, Jim. We know who they are. Mm-hmm. But if we say it this time around and they've bolstered their record and they're 6, 7, 8 over, I'm talking about after the All-Star break, and they have a good July, then we know who they are. They're playing like a good baseball team if they can do that. Yeah. That's not who they were last year, unfortunately.
No, it wasn't who they were. And the injuries going forward, like, is the biggest question. And if they play well here, talking about the trade deadline, this will give them a clear focus. We don't have to sit here and be like,
oh, are they
sell?
Yeah.
Are they going to buy? They'll never sell. But you get my point of like,
they're not.
Why spend all this prospect capital on players that are going to cost top prospects
if they don't know if they're even a good team,
or if you think that this team is like 83 wins tops.
Right.
So the next month, the next couple weeks are so crucial to the rest of this season down the stretch, because it will give the organization and AJ Preller a clear focus. It will give them confidence to go out and go buy at the deadline, which regardless, I think they were going to do anyway. And it will give the team confidence that, hey, we know we have a lot of injuries, but we still can be a really good team and we can compete and we can overcome those injuries. And yeah, we're going to have games where it doesn't look great. And yeah, we're going to lose again this year. We're not going to go 70-0 and there are however many games.
No, they won't do that. That's okay though.
They
That's
won't do
fine.
that. But playing good baseball, winning big games, winning series with the injuries they have, it makes this team, I feel like, way more confident in the long term.
We have an update on Yu Darvish's status moving forward. We'll share with you on the other side. We do want to congratulate Keyshawn Johnson. He has signed a 2-way NBA deal with the Miami Heat, which is very encouraging news. Those 2-way deals, I don't know all the particulars, Jim, but he's getting some guaranteed money, and he's getting a chance to play both in the NBA and the G League.
Great spot for him.
And again, those 2-way deals have been around for, I don't even know the length of time, 3 to 5 years, but it provides opportunities. We've seen some Aztecs on those deals. Nathan Mensah, I don't even think he was on a 2-way. There was something else, exhibit something, and he got 30-something games in the NBA. A 2-way deal puts Keyshawn Johnson in a very good position to play in the NBA immediately here in 2024. And a great organization, winning culture. He's a winner.
Great coach.
Great, absolutely.
Great front office.
He's 23 years of age now, Keyshawn. I think he can help someone sooner rather than later. 5 years of college basketball.
And oh, by the way, you're in Miami.
It's a good spot.
Like you're in South Beach. That's not a bad place to live.
It's not.
And pursue your NBA dream and career.
It's not. Now we wait on Jaden Ledee. I would expect we have something, hopefully, on Ledee within the next 15 or 20 minutes. But an update on Yu Darvish, who has been on the IL as we get you ready for Padres and Red Sox tomorrow. Again, Kevin Acey on the show tomorrow. Will Fleming, radio voice of the Red Sox, will join us tomorrow. We've got a giveaway for you. New Kids on the Block tickets in the 4 o'clock hour. Darnay Tripp is with us at 5 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, an update on the status of Yu Darvish for the Padres moving forward. That's next. All right, Jon and Jim with you. We've got those new kids on the block tickets. We'll give them away, Jim, in the 4 o'clock hour. Jim is here. Thought he might be late, but he's here. Darnay Trip NBC7 will join us at 5 p.m. We spent a lot of time. The problem with having Darnay on the show, and it's a lot of
No problem with Darnay on the show.
The problem is I'll text him, and then it starts a 6-hour text conversation. And it's basically my fault because I'll just keep texting him for like 5 hours.
I have a confession to make.
You muted the conversation.
I muted the conversation.
Yeah, obviously you did. That's why I'm always making fun of you in the chat. I know you're just sitting at home doing nothing, watching movies.
I'm not watching
or shows.
Movies. I'm watching TV. Yeah. This morning I had to go fix like my washing machine, and then I had to do some outside work.
You have to do outside work?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been to your place. There's not much outside.
I had to go over. Well, we have like a garden, and we have like an outside area that I need to upkeep.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
that's your job?
I had to return a bunch of stuff to Amazon today. So
I
was a little busy this morning.
Gosh, that sounds like man, what a day.
What'd you do this morning?
Work like I always do.
Oh, really?
For the show. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was doing. Like booking Darnay for the show, for example. Or Will Fleming, the radio voice of the Red Sox. Or
you mean Will Fleming, the guy that you are buddies with?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay.
Because are you booking buddies for the show?
I don't have any buddies.
Exactly, because you're always watching shows. Right. Okay, anyway, long way of saying Darnay is going to be on the show coming up at 5 p.m. We have an update on Yu Darvish from Kevin Acee, who joins us tomorrow.
Yeah, what's the update?
And the update is this, okay? The update is this, that he's begun throwing again. We told you yesterday that the imaging was clean on his elbow. That was the concern earlier in the week, right? Didn't start Tuesday. He's expected to resume throwing this week. Now, he had missed a bullpen. He had missed a start. He's got clean imaging. He's going to start throwing again. Now, what does that mean? Does he need another bullpen? Does he need another rehab start? My guess is he's not far off. If it's clean imaging, you can throw again. At most, maybe there's another rehab start in there. But beyond that, I would think he'd be back at the mound sooner rather than later. Now, I don't know what that means. I'm not necessarily trusting that he's going to be Yu Darvish that we saw in 2022, but I'd be surprised if they didn't try to get him back on the mound in San Diego sooner rather than later based on that. What are they waiting on?
I think they are just making sure everything's okay. Like, hey, if you have one rehab start, just to make sure everything's good. That's probably the best course of action. Because if you throw him right back out there after he missed a start because of elbow inflammation, like, I mean, it's risky.
Mhm.
It's definitely something to monitor and keep an eye on. And whenever he returns, you're not seeing more than 75 pitches from him. Tell you that.
Yeah, first time out. Yeah.
Same thing with Joe, probably less than that for Joe.
Right.
So it's not like whenever these guys return, if they do return, probably you Darvish first, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a 7-inning guy right there right away. Like, no. You got to remember when he came back from his neck injury that put him on the IL this year, he went like 3 straight starts going only 5 innings.
Well, here's the other thing to consider. So I want to say they've begun a stretch of 17 games in 26 days. They've either begun it tomorrow or are about to begin it.
I think they're about to begin it, John.
Whatever it is, which means you don't even need 5 starters. Because 4 starters pitching 17 games over 26 days gives them all 4 days off or more between starts. So if you're concerned about, I'm just making it up, if you're concerned about Adam Azier, if you're concerned about Randy Vasquez, and if you're concerned about you Darvish, whomever you're concerned about, if you're on a 5-man rotation for the next month, guys are pitching every week. If you're on a 4-man rotation over the next month, guys are pitching every 5 or 6 days. I think that's something to at least consider. That only enhances the Padres. We talked about this. Their bullpen's been taxed. This helps them. Their rotation, you haven't necessarily been getting length, but you can now turn maybe more often to someone like Matt Waldron. You want to pitching every 7 days, or you want to pitching every 5 or 6 days? So at least something to consider over the next month with all the off days.
And the good thing is, with all the off days, they have opportunities to set up things how they wanted to be set up. You could not have done that in the last stretch that they just had, where they had like no off days.
Right.
And thankfully, they had some guys step up in their rotation, which they needed desperately. It wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You still had pretty much 2.5 spots in your rotation that weren't really giving you much of anything, with Adam Azier, even though they've won 3 of his 5 starts.
Right. Which is good.
Mm-hmm. Then you had Velasquez, and then up and down with Dylan Cease, other than yesterday. So the stretch that they're about to go on, they can set it up how they want. And it is pretty important for this team to kind of, I guess, maybe capitalize on this stretch as well, because of the time they get off, the rest that they're going to be able to get, and hopefully the amount of games they have off doesn't hurt maybe their momentum going forward.
There's an update on Xander Bogaerts. He took BP on the field. He took actual BP on the field, right? He fractured that shoulder. He's been taking grounders. He's on this trip. Again, they're going to Boston. That makes sense. And Kevin Wrights has discussed a rehab assignment starting in early July. So we said this yesterday. Take your time, man. Team's playing well. They don't need help in the middle infield right now. Team's playing well, but Xander appears very motivated to get back sooner rather than later. He's already taking BP. He hasn't even been out for all that long.
No.
Truthfully, now still you're a few weeks away, even if things
Take
go
your
perfectly.
Time. It's okay.
That's what I would really
Take
say.
Take your time.
Here.
We don't
all the off days and the All-Star break coming up.
So much time off here, and the team's playing well. Hopefully, they continue to play well.
Right.
Because if they don't play well, then it's going to put more pressure on Xander to try and ramp things up and return as fast as possible. Same thing with Joe. Potentially same thing with Tatis.
Mm-hmm.
Darvish will be back here seemingly soonish. So the last thing anybody wants is the guys that are injured to push it and get back because they feel like they need to get back to help the team win.
Right.
And then they get back and it's like, shouldn't have returned as quickly as I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like with what happened with Joe earlier this season when he flat out admitted that he returned too soon.
And the truth is, I mean, you hate to put it this bluntly, but they don't really need Xander Bogaerts.
Not right now.
I mean, not this. Now, I think they will need Xander Bogaerts. I think to reach the ceiling of the team, you want Bogaerts playing like he's played at times during his career, not necessarily as a Padre. Elite Bogaerts would help this team in a big way. We haven't seen it really as a Padre, maybe briefly last April, last September, but take your time, get back healthy, and see if you can help this team in the second half. All right, on the other side, hour 2, we'll kick it off. Darnay Trip at 5 p.m. Coming up next hour in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to give away New Kids on the Block tickets July 7th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. We have the wrap on the other side. Where is Jaden Ledee going to land? Keyshawn Johnson to the Miami Heat as an undrafted free agent. What about Jaden Ledee? The latest next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples. Padres, they have an off day today. They'll take on the Red Sox starting tomorrow for a 3-game series in Boston. And the NBA draft just finished up, second round. No surprise, Bronny James got drafted by the Lakers at the 55th pick. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even on the same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim, where we will give away New Kids on the Block tickets for a show July 7th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Darnay Tripp, I would refer to him as a friend of the show. Is that how you'd refer to Darnay? Would he be a friend? Is he an actual friend or just a friend of the show? I'd say an actual friend because you invited him to your wedding.
He's a friend, yeah.
For a half second, you were like, well, yeah, he's a friend.
He's a friend, yeah.
Now, how did he make the list? Can I ask that? Because I just did.
It's a good question, John.
What do you mean? It's a good question.
I feel
no,
like
I'm serious. Like you guys, we have good friendship, relationship, right?
Yeah, we had him on, and it turned into a text chain, which turned into a friendship, which turned into he's also from Philly, so I feel like he would have been in a good with all of Aaron's people and everybody. Right. And
when did we even first meet Darnay? Because he's been here as long as I've been here. Is that 7+ years or 6, 7? But I'm trying to think the first time we really truly interacted with him. Was that on radio just by texting him? And
it's been a little while.
Okay, yeah, it's 5, 6 years.
It wasn't like.
I think I've seen him at press conferences. No, that's why I
before
asked.
My wedding or something.
I know because it's a big decision. It's a big decision to be not friends with Darnay, but invite me to the wedding. What if you didn't invite me to the wedding? That would have been weird. Well, I was official. What if I just officiated? Yeah, you could go now, and we don't need you. Don't need to have your own seat. Wedding was fun though.
Wedding was fun.
Yeah,
we should go back more often. We should do that more often. Except I don't think I want to throw another wedding.
So you're a month removed, by the way.
I am a little over a month removed. Yeah.
How's everything at home? Can I ask that?
It's great.
Aaron's loving life, married life.
It's great. Yeah.
Bentley.
Great.
Even though
Bentley yesterday, get this,
turned 7 with Aaron.
He turned 7 on the 25th. Yeah. So that was 2 days ago.
Okay. I saw it on social. Yeah.
So yesterday, right as the show's about to end, I get a text from Aaron, and it was just a picture of our carpet.
Yeah, you told me this.
But there was throw up everywhere. And I'm like,
ooh.
Huh?
And didn't you say a plant was gone or something?
He ate a poisonous plant that's in our I guess is poisonous
for dogs.
For dogs.
Well, who eats plants?
But he doesn't eat. It's just
you dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, true. Good point.
Anyway,
good point.
It's a plant that we have in the corner. Didn't even know it was it could be dangerous.
And
he
decided I'm bored. I'm eating this plant.
It's been there since the second we moved in.
Right, so a long time.
And he just decided to eat it this time for no reason.
Is he okay?
He's fine. He's totally fine.
Okay.
That dog has a stomach a tank.
I got you. Like an iron stomach.
One time he ate
Ornberger
cocoa powder.
Okay.
And
cocoa powder. I don't think that's good for a dog.
No, chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not good for a dog.
Yeah.
And he then proceeded to just be totally fine. But me and Aaron were freaking out because dogs can't eat chocolate. And he ate a whole thing of cocoa powder. So we were deciding
it's a big decision. Yes.
All right, we need to make him throw up.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know how to do it. And then we saw these things online of giving him some I don't even know what we were about to give him. But thank God we didn't because he was totally fine. But yesterday
there's always something.
There's always something. Always something.
And there's always something when I feel like you're married.
Yeah.
In a good way. But
everything's fine.
Everything's
great. Everything's great at home. And it's all good.
How about this? An update for Major League Baseball and All-Star voting. I saw this from AJ Cassaville. And this is honestly, Jim, even if we're not in San Diego, but if you cover baseball for a living, arguably the biggest story of the year is this emergence of Jurickson Profar. He remains the number 1 vote getter among outfielders. It's amazing.
Still.
Wow. And that's just been released again by Major League Baseball. So we are trending where we know we're trending, which is he only has to be top 3 to start this game for the National League. He will start in the All-Star game, Jim.
Yeah.
He will be voted in as a star no matter what happens in the coming 3, 5, 7 days. He will start in the All-Star game. The story of Jurickson Profar in 2024 is one of the true great stories in baseball going on right now. And it's happening right here in San Diego. It's amazing.
Yeah, he no doubt should be an all-star.
And a starter. Yep.
Because he is, I mean, say what you want about Jurickson Profar. He's putting together one of the best seasons in the National League.
It's amazing.
It doesn't matter if he's
you're right
on a 1-year, $1 million deal, or if he's not a superstar player or whatever the case may be. Like, he is putting together one of the best seasons in the National League. End of discussion.
I agree with you.
And so, yeah, he should absolutely be a starter. Good for Jurickson Profar. I'm so happy for him that he gets to be a starter in Texas. Truthfully, maybe for him, he probably thinking to himself like, yeah, I kind of wish I was maybe taking that week off just because of my knee.
Yeah, but I mean, how many chances now? He's got this young son, right? That we always see in like the marketing, right? His young son that we've been seeing in San Diego. I don't know how old he is.
7 or 8. Yeah.
I mean, you got a young son. You've never been in an all-star game. I don't care how the knee feels. You got a chance to go to an all-star game where your son's enamored with everything going on. He's in that perfect age. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. That is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to share that with your family and your 7-year-old or however old his son is. I mean, it's amazing to do it in Texas, right? He's got all these ties to the Rangers organization. And you're right. His numbers stack up. I just Googled it to look it up. He's not Shohei Ohtani in terms of numbers, but nobody's Shohei Ohtani in terms of numbers. But he has been the best outfielder in the National League because Ohtani's not playing in the outfield. So It's exciting is what it is.
It's also nice that like a lot of the outfielders have moved to the infield in the National League.
True.
Bryce,
Yep.
Mookie.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that he deserves it. He should absolutely be there. And he has been such a catalyst for this Padres team.
It's amazing, Jim. It's amazing.
To think that literally the missing piece, or I wouldn't say missing piece, but a player that if he was on the team for the entirety of last year, who knows if things are different.
That's a great point.
That's Jurickson Profar. You know, I know it was a cute and funny thing to say, like, oh, they're signing him just for the vibes and the good feels this year.
That's what it seemed like at the time.
And it's like, actually, yeah, we need him. We needed him in our clubhouse because our clubhouse wasn't not good last year.
So it's like it's a twofold win. He actually is a good teammate and leader. That's clear. And he's also producing. Like, you take him on the $1 million deal if he was just leading the team in the right direction. You then couple that with this amazing season, and you got everything you could possibly want out of Jurickson Profar right now. And now you're just crossing your fingers, hold on to this thing for the rest of the year. Just do this. And if you do this all year, who knows where he could take this team? He could take him to the postseason. He can help take him to the postseason. I know that.
He's going to have to do a lot because he's been so impactful this year. Like, it was a fun story to start the season. You're like, hey, can Jurickson oh my God, Jurickson Profar.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like Jurickson Profar. Like, he is, when you think of the Padres for the 2024 season, he's kind of close to the top of this list.
If not, I mean, where else? Who would be ahead of him? Just real quick. I mean, Merrill's had a great year. Cronenworth's had a great year, but who's ahead of Profar? No one's ahead of Jurickson Profar. I mean, people might be close to his season for the Padres. I thought Tatis was playing very well before the injury, but nobody's ahead of Jurickson Profar in the Padres.
No,
in 2024.
Not that I can think of.
I really can. I mean, they've had some. Matt Waldron's been awesome. It's not a position player, obviously, but Matt Waldron's been awesome.
He's been the most impactful player on this team.
Yeah, just in general, all players. You're right. Pitchers, hitters, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to think that, you know, where would they be without Jurickson Profar was kind of laughable a couple months ago. Now it's like, laughable. No, he is a huge piece of this team. And I know the conversation is going to happen later this year, but I mean, do we even want to talk about the like, hey, they need him on this team for multiple years? Like,
I'm willing to do it, Jim. I'm serious.
Like,
I mean,
it's just
because unlike Merrill, his time is up in like 75 games. Like the contract ends.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. I would say it as strongly as this. They'd be foolish not to have him back. Now, I'm not saying without any like measure, you're not going to give him some absurd deal, but you can't meet halfway here. You two parties where pro far you haven't been good elsewhere, and Padres you need him. Figure it out.
Yeah, and he's not only impactful on the field, but in that clubhouse especially. I mean, it feels like he is the glue. I mean, even Eric Grupner the other day is like he's the heart of the team.
2 for 20. Get it done. Get it done right now.
Get it done.
Somebody figure that out. All right, coming up this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to New Kids on the Block. This is July 7th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Darnay Tripp, his thoughts on the Padres and Red Sox coming up. Also, Keyshawn Johnson ending up with the Miami Heat. We're waiting to hear on Jaden Ledee, so we'll catch up with Darnay Tripp from NBC7, our buddy, at 5 p.m. But right now, let's get to this.
What do you think of Keyshawn Johnson's landing spot?
I think it's great for Keyshawn. I think that the Miami Heat is a great organization with one of the best head coaches in the league, one of the best front offices. Just, their culture, right? They branded themselves Heat culture, right? I think it's a great spot for him. I don't know if he's going to play right away because he's on the 2-way contract, but for development purposes, like great spot for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know more about the NBA than I do, but this is what I know about Keyshawn Johnson. He is a true winner that has developed throughout the course of his 5 years. I mean, he has really ascended each and every year, where I do think he's got a complete skill set. His defense is unbelievable, and his jumping ability and athleticism is unbelievable, and he's developed his shot as well. So I wish him the absolute best. I hope we see him in the NBA in 2024, and I have a feeling we will with the Miami Heat. Next question.
Would you sign up for a 3-3 road trip for the Padres?
I think I would right now, but they can't have less than a 3-3 road trip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's got to be 3-3 or better.
Because you're not doing any damage at 3-3. It doesn't feel like.
No, you're not. And especially coming off of a 1-5 road trip, to back that up with a 3-3 road trip, it's not the worst thing in the world. And then you come home, and if you play good baseball up until the All-Star break, then yeah, that 5-6 games over 500 that we're kind of talking about is definitely doable for sure.
I agree with you. It's a little bit defeatist. We're like, man, they're playing great baseball. What are you talking about, guys? But remember, you're looking at the arc of 162. Just keep kicking the can down the road. 3-3 over 6 games, or 3 games over 500 in the National League is not a bad thing when you're on the road. Now, Boston hasn't been great. The Rangers haven't been great coming off the World Series, but you could do a lot worse than 3-3, as you just said, as evidenced by the last time they were on the road. Let's get to our next question.
Will Bronny play more than 100 minutes as a rookie in the NBA?
I think so. Dude, I'm getting so many funny memes.
I don't know.
There are so many funny memes right now of Bronny and LeBron James. Like one of them said, it has been discovered that LeBron James is sleeping with his newest teammate's mom. Dude,
that's amazing.
Hilarious.
People are so ridiculous on social media.
Very ridiculous.
You think of some funny things, but not that funny.
No, not that funny. Not that funny.
But no, he's going to get the chance. Like, how many games do you think he appears in? Or do you think he is, quote unquote, like hidden in the G League? You think he starts the year in the NBA, right? 5 games, big story inside the NBA, right? Chuck's talking about it. Hey, look, there's Bronny. Then you get 5 games into the year, they bring him down. He's with the South Bay Lakers for 50 games. Then end of the year, hey, look, Bronny's back. Final games for LeBron's career. I'm making it like, I just wonder if you see it to start the year, you see it to end the year, and we never see him for like 5 months because they just develop him in the G League, which is what they should do probably.
Right. They need to put him in the G League. They need to make sure that he stays in the G League, but that's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen.
What would a lot of minutes look like, Jim? Seriously, as an NBA fan, what would a lot of minutes in a game look like for Bronny James?
10.
That's a lot, isn't it? 10?
But that's like if like the Lakers are up by 35 heading into the fourth quarter.
Well, how often is that happening? I guess every
it could
10
happen.
Games or so. Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
I know. With this guy's that sit in the regular season,
it happens.
No, you're right. Okay, yeah, I buy that.
Do you think he's going to play more minutes than like Giannis's brothers that just sit on the bench? or you think he's going to play about that much?
Do Giannis's brothers, do they get it garbage time? How many minutes do those guys play?
Thanos,
Yeah.
Or Thanos, I don't know how you say he never plays it. He averaged 4.6 minutes a game this season.
That's a couple hundred minutes then, over 80 games, 5 times 8. Yeah.
Mostly about 3 minutes every
couple
games. Yeah.
That's not a lot. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think he plays more than 100 minutes, but I don't think he plays 1,000 minutes. That's for sure. Final question.
Will Team USA win the gold in men's basketball?
I think they've reported, including Kawhi.
It's not going to be easy like it has been previously.
Right. That's why. Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't seem like a walk in the park.
France got Wemby. France got Wemby.
It's Canada.
Luka, I think, is with whatever national team he would play for.
Yeah, what is he with?
Canada is a loaded
Serbia.
team.
Yeah.
Well, this is Team Canada. Zach Edey, Shea
Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep. RJ Barrett, everyone's favorite defender, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Alexander, Kelly Olynyk, Dwight Powell. Canada's full of NBA guys.
But not LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard.
And KD. And
But now the U.S. team's a little
Anthony
old.
Edwards.
If the U.S. had to now, Anthony Edwards, young, great player, and is emerging in his prime. But if they had to deal with a player or two that was injured, over the course of the Olympics, like an Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard,
it's going to take a little work. Like, it's not going to be just
39-point win after 39-point win.
Yeah. So I think they can win the gold because this is like kind of the last ride for Steph,
this group.
LeBron, KD.
I'm pumped for Kawhi. I hope Kawhi's healthy, and I hope he plays. I mean, I was surprised to see his name as one of the 12. I really was. He finished last year injured in the postseason. That was months ago, if that. The last time we saw the Clippers and Kawhi, he was hurt a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully he's healthy. Okay, so coming up again at 4:45 or later this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see New Kids on the Block, July 7th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Darnay Trip at NBC7 will join us coming up at 5 p.m. You know Ben Fadden, who produces the show, right?
Yeah, I know who that is, John.
I didn't realize this because now we have the universal schedule and you play every team every year, which means the year you go to New York to face the Yankees, the next year they come to you and so on and so forth. So I hadn't really thought about this. The Padres have not been in Boston since 2013.
Been a while. Yeah.
So that's 11 full seasons since. And then someone brought up a really good point. Like, no matter what you think of AJ Preller, what he's done is completely changed the way this lineup looks, because you look at that 2013 Padres roster, you're like, come on, give me a break. Where the Padres have, you look at their rosters now in recent history under AJ Preller, and it's names. Even if you look back and say, oh, remember that 2021 team? But you're like, yeah, well, they had Fernando Tatis Jr., they had Manny Machado, like they had names. So, like, you look at where they were in 2013 from an organizational perspective, their relevancy as a franchise in San Diego to today, whoa, what a difference a decade makes.
Yeah, I mean, we see it every single day.
We do.
We cover the Padres, and so I think that you look over the last decade. I think, Fadden put out the lineup.
It was. There's some laughing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
from 2011 to like when Preller first got here,
those 5 years,
those teams sucked.
Right.
Those were god awful teams. And then Preller tried to quick fix it, and then it didn't work.
It was interesting for a moment.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
And then the team continued to suck for the next
5 years.
5 years. And then they signed Manny, and it was like, okay, let's go. But where the Padres are at right now in their franchise history, they're the most popular they've ever been. Would you agree?
Have to be.
Even with the 98, 84, like
877. That's a great question, man. 877-767-4760 or 70470. Start it with team or the talkback mic. Have they ever been more popular? Of course, in a moment. You're right. 96, 98, 84, first ever World Series trip. Of course, that's amazing for that 2 weeks. But what about the entirety of the season? The entirety of the year? It's all people talk about. Now, again, we're living in a San Diego that's different than San Diego in 1984 with the, San Diego Chargers, or San Diego in 1998 with the Chargers, or even in 2015 with the Chargers. It's a different city, but that's not the Padres' fault. And they've marketed themselves incredibly well. Now, they haven't won at the highest level, true. We've all talked about it. But they've marketed it incredibly well, where they are, you could talk about them 365 days a year. Look at us. We do. And I think it's reasonable to talk about them all year.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
why
What
would
else? We're
why
not talking about
why,
the Chargers.
why would you not talk Padres all year long here in San Diego?
Right.
Like it's the number one brand in town. If anybody's not talking Padres, I don't know what you're doing. They are the number one draw, whether you like it or not. People want to hear about the Padres all the time, and that's a credit to the Padres
Mhm.
for getting us here. And that's why I do have these little devils on my shoulder sometimes when I'm like, okay, this team needs to, have a new general manager or a new whatever. Like,
Right.
I'm like, well, if there is no Preller,
Are they relevant like
how
this?
how are they relevant? But again, at the end of the day, it's about winning.
I know.
So
It's
what
not
are you
just
going to
about
choose?
marketing,
Are you going
right.
to choose the marketing and relevancy and like controversy and ups and downs and talking points and drama, or do you want like just consistent winning, like from Dodger standpoint or whatever?
Or like Cardinals organization.
Cardinals, yeah.
Historically. But here's the thing. At the end of the day in San Diego, and I'm with you, I think the marketing has been great. And I think people appreciate it. I think they've been relative. They've had good years. They've had bad years. End of the day in San Diego, you got to win at some point. That's the one thing we're all waiting for. They haven't won at the highest level ever. Manny Machado hasn't won a World Series ever. Like, this is what we wait for. This is what we're talking about. That's why I always say, that's why I've always laughed at like, oh, just be good. I don't really care if they win a World Series. I'd rather them just be good for 10 years than go win a World Series. I'm like, really? I'd rather them win a World Series and worry about the rest later. Go win a World Series at some point. I don't know when it's going to be, but that should be the goal of the organization. And I hope it is. Not just marketing, but winning.
Yeah.
When those meet,
Oh my gosh.
that's the best.
And we saw it in 2022.
It's the best.
And it was electric here.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was. All right, here's what we're going to do on the other side. I love that question. Is this the most popular the Padres have been in the history of the franchise? We can react to that. Plus Darnay trip at 5, plus new Kids on the Block tickets. We're giving them away July 7th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Stay with us. All right, have the Padres ever been more popular than they are in their current form right now in 2024? Plus, New Kids on the Block tickets will give them away. Plus, darn a trip at 5 p.m.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, they have an off day today. They start their 6-game road trip starting tomorrow in Boston. They go to Boston for 3 and then Texas for 3. And the NBA draft has concluded. Bronny James did get drafted at 55 overall by guess who? That's right, the Los Angeles Lakers. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even on the same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
All right, San Diego 760. Keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere, whether you're stepping out of the car or settling in at home. Just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. It is a Padres off day. They are in Boston. They'll open a 6-game road trip tomorrow afternoon at 4:10 on Apple TV Plus, Jim. Do you want to have the Apple TV Plus conversation? That it's like a rite of passage. Once a year, we talk about Apple TV Plus. I will ask you how I log on to my account. You'll ask me why I'm an idiot. And people ask, how do I watch the Padres? And it's on Apple TV Plus tomorrow at 4:10.
You know what's funny about that is I was cleaning up my phone because I got a new phone the other day.
I know. It's very nice.
Very nice
iPhone 15. Things must be good.
Very, very
Jeez, you get married and wow.
Well, I had to like upgrade.
I know. I'm kidding.
So anyway, I was cleaning up my phone the other day, and for some reason, I'm like, why do I have Apple TV Plus, the app on my phone? I never use Apple TV Plus.
It's from Padres.
And you just reminded me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I had.
Did you get rid of it?
Doesn't it just come standard on iPhones these days?
That's a good. Is it on your phone?
It comes with iPhones.
Apple
Much.
TV Plus.
Apple TV.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You usually get like a trial.
Right.
Anyway, I deleted the app.
I did. My trial's still going on, and it's been like 4 years.
I got rid of the app because I don't feel like I need it.
Now,
so.
are you gonna? Now, I think to watch though baseball on Friday night, you don't need a subscription, or do you for Apple TV Plus? I thought they used to
Didn't they,
give
like,
it to
change
MLB
it?
fans. Yeah, now where you do have to pay.
I don't know, but if it is on Apple TV Plus and I have to sign up for a subscription, I guess I'll do it.
For one game.
for one game though. I mean, I don't know.
I
dude.
know. I'm looking Friday Night Baseball, watch across all devices, but is it free? Is it free? And I don't know the answer to it. I really don't. We pay for the whatever, Padres.tv, and that's fine. I'm happy to do it. I really am. And we get Don and Mud, and it's terrific. But then the piecemealed one-off games, right? The Roku game of the week, the Peacock
game of the week.
that actually exists.
Yeah.
They actually
I
have
know.
a Roku game of the week that the Padres are playing in later this summer. They have the Apple TV games. I get the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Okay. I get Turner.
The Fox.
I get it. But, man, Apple TV Plus, I'm watching the Padres and the Red Sox. I'm watching a game at Fenway Park, and my only way to access it is through some app that I don't have that costs money.
The thing that kind of sucks about it is I wish all those other formats were as good as Apple TV Plus is, because I love their baseball coverage.
It looks great.
It looks great because it's in actual 4K. The commentators aren't the best, but they kind of just had to piecemeal them with whoever was left over. But I like their little overlays of like the ever-changing stats of like with the count of he's got a 33% chance to get a hit, or now he's got a 10% chance to get a hit.
Yeah.
I like when they do stuff like that.
Apple TV Plus, Jim.
Yeah.
Buy your package now for tomorrow.
Yes, buy the package
at 4:10. Now, Kevin AC will join us tomorrow from Boston, Fenway. You've never been. Have you been to Boston?
No, that is a bucket list.
Dude,
that is a bucket list.
I've probably been to 8 or 10. I've been there before renovations, after renovations. It's a must.
Yeah.
I saw some stuff on Instagram today or on social media, like Padres Blogger and others, of flights from San Diego to Boston today filled with Padres fans. Summertime, kids are out of school, chance to go to Fenway Park. Padres are playing good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big series.
Oh,
it's just it's a cool series.
Very cool series. And it's Return of Xander. And he's going.
Yes, exactly.
He'll be there
on the trip.
They will do a tribute video to him. And
yeah.
I'm sure he'll get a standing ovation, as he should, because he helped win 2 World Series there. He was a big part of both of those World Series.
Yep.
I would say Boston. I've been to Wrigley, which I freaking
I
loved.
haven't.
You see,
okay.
okay.
I've been outside.
So I've been to Wrigley. You've been to Fenway. I think Wrigley, just
is
by
like favorite?
Looking at it, because I haven't been to Fenway, so I can't to say.
And nor can I.
But just like looking at both of them, I would pick Wrigley as the
from a look perspective.
From a look perspective.
I'm trying to think like what else would even be on the list. Like if you're a Padres fan, you got an amazing ballpark.
Oakland Coliseum's up there. That place is.
That. I mean, like of course there's some good ballparks in the West, but like I'm thinking, okay, Petco's one of the best. We all know that. We agree. Fenway, iconic. Wrigley, iconic. Like, what else is like you got to get there? You got to get to Fenway. You got to get to Wrigley. Every Padres fan's been to Petco. It's a great ballpark in the Bay where the Giants play, obviously. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like from there,
for
like where
older
do you go?
ballparks, there isn't too many of them left.
PNC.
Amazing ballpark in Pittsburgh.
It's still pretty new, though.
As
far as stadiums go,
yeah.
I would have loved
it's not 87 years old like
Right.
Wrigley or something.
I would have loved to gone to Old Yankee Stadium one time.
Yeah, I did that.
Just because of the history.
It was a dump.
Well, it's a dump.
You know what?
But
It's like Dodger Stadium. It's a dump. I mean, they've done work to it.
Yeah.
They've done work to it. But my first time at Dodger Stadium, I'm like, are you serious?
Oh, yeah. That place is horrible.
I could not believe it because my perception, like you have these perception, honestly, Fenway before renovations, like you have this perception, like, oh my gosh, it's Dodger Stadium. You get there, like, are you serious? This is Dodger Stadium. This is a joke. I could not believe it. Now they've done a lot of work to it. Fenway, they did a lot of work to it. But yeah, so my point is, like, we're pretty lucky to be here because Petco's a great one. Again, I think San Francisco's a great one. I think Fenway's great, having been there post renovations. I've never been to Wrigley, but beyond that, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities.
One of the worst ballparks I've been to is Arizona.
Because that's what, like an airport hangar, like
just no like charm, no
dark.
That's what Miller Park's like.
It didn't feel like a baseball stadium. It felt like a hangar, like a airport hangar.
Well, my parents were in town this week, and my dad loved Petco.
Petco is amazing.
He looked over after it would have been like after the 7th inning on the Friday night game and goes, "Are they always like this?"
Like, yeah.
It's like,
yeah, that's the amazing thing about it. That's
Yeah.
a good point. The atmosphere. Jackson Merrill talked about it this past week.
Right.
Saying that, like, when the Nationals come here, the other players are envious that we're getting this every single night. Like, are the Nationals even playing in front of sellouts anywhere? Yeah, like Philly, But, I mean, to get it every night is pretty incredible. There's only a few spots like that. again, I mean, Fenway, Wrigley historically sell tickets, but the way it's been at Petco here recently, we're talking about, is this the most popular era in the history of the franchise? Like, I haven't even looked at attendance figures, Jim, but if I went back to 84 at the Q, are they drawn, or April and May, are they drawing 55,000 a night in 84? Are they drawing 55,000 first 2 months of a season in 96, 98? I'm asking the question.
I don't think so.
There's nights where they are.
Yeah.
There's nights where they have
Towards the-
huge crowds.
Towards the end of the season, when
getting
you're
to
like,
the postseason,
this is getting fun.
gonna win a pennant or whatever.
When they were in the playoffs, like World Series, that place was packed.
Right.
But like the ballparks that I've been to, I feel pretty good. Like the only ballpark is Fenway for me. It's really only Fenway.
Got to get there.
It's Fenway, and that's pretty because I've been to Oracle, Petco, Wrigley. Oh, I need to go to Fenway. Maybe New Yankee Stadium, just because like
sterile. A lot of concrete.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sterile. They got Monument Park.
You know what? PNC is one.
PNC is unbelievable.
And then trying to think, is Seattle a good stadium?
Yeah, I think people like T-Mobile. Yeah,
Okay.
because it opens up the retractable roof.
Oh, we have one person on the YouTube chat that says Seattle has zero atmosphere too.
Well, nobody goes.
Yeah.
By the way, I looked it up. 84 Padres, which is a bit of a miracle team. They were 81 and 81 the year before. So, they go on this run. They beat the Cubs. Remarkable. Team. But they drew 1.9 million fans, 24,000 a night. Okay. All right. So then you fast forward, we'll say, surely it's going to be better in the 90s. They have these 90-win teams, like 96, really good team.
They have a bigger stadium, too. Or not bigger stadium, because...
But huge stadium.
Yeah. Same stadium.
But 96, 2.18 million, 27K a night. 98, they go to the World Series against the New York Yankees. They draw 2.55, 31,000 per game. And then there's now, where they're coming off a year in which they drew 3.271 million, 40,390 per game, and they're averaging 40,000 a night right now. It's as good as it gets in the history of the franchise. Now, they just got to win like they did in 84 and 98.
That's all you got to do.
It's so easy. And
John.
That, everything's going to be fine. They should hire me.
Just win
this
like
is
the
so
98
simple.
Team.
Hire Jon and Jim to oversee
win
the organization.
The 84 team.
It's so easy.
Well, even if they don't win, they're still going to pack that place and get close to 3 million fans.
That's what we learned. You're right. Well, 2022, they go to the NLCS. They drew 3 million. Last year, disappointment, 3.2. This year, right track right now, on pace for 3 million more fans. They're on pace for over 3 million fans again this year, which is amazing. It's amazing. They've never had 3 million fans in a season.
No, congratulations to them.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Raise the banner.
On the other side, let's get to Trainwreck Radio Sports Trivia. Who wants a pair of tickets to see New Kids on the Block July 7th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater? This is coming up in like a week or so. Great prize, great giveaway. All you got to do is call. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia. Here's the number. 877-767-4760. Call right now. Pick up the phone. 877-767-4760. Again, the number to call if you want those 2 free tickets to see New Kids on the Block coming up in like a week and a half at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Call right now. Here's the number. 877-767-4760. Call right now. All right, on the other side, we're giving away New Kids on the Block tickets. If you want them, call 877-767-4760. We'll play trivia. Again, New Kids on the Block tickets. If you want them, call 877-767-4760. Call right now, 877-767-4760, plus donate trip, NBC7, coming up at 5. Music Festival is back September 20th and 21st. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Live performances by Keith Urban, New Kids on the Block, and the Black Crowes, and more. Now's your chance to buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. The news of the day nationally, Bronny James, the Lakers. Some local news, Keyshawn Johnson, 4 years, starring on the Mesa, to the Miami Heat, two-way contract. We're waiting, Jim, on Jaden Ledee. There have been a number of two-way deals that have been announced by Shams or Woj over the last, I'd say, 60 or 90 minutes. We have not heard anything on Jaden Ledee. We will, right? We're going to.
I hope so.
Lift me up here.
Yes,
yes, we're gonna.
We need some lifting up today.
I mean, this is clear as day. This is clear as day.
You have that soundbite, Brent? Please, I need that soundbite right now. Jaden Ledee, come on, man.
There we go.
There we go.
It's got to get signed.
Someone sign Jaden Ledee right now. But Keyshawn Johnson signed, so
yes,
that's cool.
He did.
Man, it's like you're using his age this much against him.
I don't know. He's going to sign. Again, the story of the day, and we started the show with it, is, I mean, Bronny James going to the Lakers, even though it was inevitable and everyone's been saying he's going to go to the Lakers, and then you actually see it happen. You know, can you really script this? You can script the draft with the 55th overall pick for weeks on end. And that's exactly what they did. And Bronny James has been drafted to the NBA as a 19-year-old after 1 year at SC. He will play with his father, presumably, in the NBA this upcoming season. And guess what? When that happens, Jim, the ratings are going to be huge. When the Lakers debut in 2024, this fall, and LeBron James is paired with his son in an NBA game, I guess the TV gods are going to get what they want.
It'll be the number one story on SportsCenter. It'll be the number one story on ESPN, on all the talking head shows. Everything will be about Bronny and his dad. And I saw something where Woj was defending the Lakers. Of course he is, because he's a brown nose to all of the agents, including LeBron and Clutch and Rich Paul. So of course he's going to defend. But anybody with a right mind knows that the reason why Bronny was drafted to the Lakers was because of his father. 100%. And it's not fair to Bronny at all. If anything, people should not be upset with Bronny. They should not hold this against Bronny. They should not take this out on Bronny. This is on LeBron. This is on the Lakers, because when LeBron put out there a couple years ago that his goal in life to finish off his career was to play with his son in the NBA, you essentially, LeBron, put not only all this pressure on the team that you were going to be playing on to draft Bronny, but you put all this pressure on your son that he doesn't need. You know, he said one time during an interview that one of his regrets was naming Bronny after him. His real name is LeBron. Bronny. Yeah,
exactly.
And they call him Bronny.
Because you're saying it doesn't allow him to walk in his own footsteps?
Right. Because they didn't want, looking back, he's like, yeah, I wish we named our son something different, because now he has the LeBron James name and he's going to be compared to that name all the time with whatever he does.
And now he's going to be compared, of course, because now he's a Laker and now he's playing with his father. I mean, 6 weeks ago, we were on the air. We're like, he's going to Duquesne, right?
Yeah, right.
Right? Like it was almost like a formality. There was a day in there. We're like, oh, they're linking up LeBron's high school teammate at St. Vincent St. Mary, who's now coaching at Duquesne in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The portal's open. Bronny hadn't made a decision. I was like, he's going to end up at Duquesne, right? He's going to get a second year. He's going to develop.
Yeah,
he's going to get that second year.
Yeah.
It's going to be, near Akron, Ohio area. He's going to be with LeBron's, friend growing up. It's all going to be good. This was 6 weeks ago. He's going to be at Duquesne, right? He's playing for the Lakers 6 weeks later. That's a big change.
Oh, it's a little pretty
that's
big change.
About face.
Do you think this extends LeBron's career?
I think it does. I think you got multiple years now.
Okay.
Don't you?
Or do you think this is okay?
Griffey with Griffey.
This year, check this off the box.
It's 1 year.
Yeah.
And I'm good now.
I think maybe now you're looking at 2 years. Now, what had people been saying previously? Let's say Bronny wasn't even a basketball player. He's got a son, but he's not going to play in the NBA. He plays baseball.
Okay.
With LeBron, what would the trajectory have been? Let's just take Bronny out of the equation. Yeah, take that out of the equation. What would have happened with LeBron here moving forward? What would we be saying about LeBron? Another year, or would you be
2
saying
years?
2 or more?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue.
I'd say 2.
Because I do think the lure of playing with his son is something that has been a motivation for him.
Definitely.
The last couple of years, if you look at his stats, he's one of the top 10 players in the league still at 38, 39. With the okay, Bronny's coming potentially. Now, no one thinks he's an NBA prospect. No one thinks that he is ready to play in the league right now. But the power that LeBron wields, he probably thought to himself, I can make this happen if he's just okay. If Bronny's just okay, then I can make this happen. And Bronny's just okay enough to where we saw it pan out today. It actually happened.
Do you remember 2 years ago when people were like, is he good enough to play at a high major level in Division I? Remember that? There was this discussion is he even a top 50 high school player? Is he top 100? Is he a top 200? And then all of a sudden, he definitely is. He's maybe a top 10 high school player. And then what was unfair, listen, what happened to him in the offseason, cardiac arrest, it's incredible. You're just thinking about life and death at that point. He had cardiac arrest a year ago, right?
He did.
Before his first year. And there's just been so many twists and turns. He had cardiac arrest less than a year ago.
And unfortunately, it really hurt him from a standpoint of if he never has that condition, maybe he does perform it and he earns this.
Right.
And then we're not talking about you
why
you basically what's the phrasing when the kid gets everything just because of the parents? I forget what the phrasing is.
Nepotism.
He's a nepo baby.
Nepo baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's instead of him earning it, he is being viewed as a nepo baby.
Which again, I don't like for him.
I hate that
I
for
don't
him.
like it because I honestly think that with development, we have no idea the difference between a college freshman and a college junior can be everything. You could go from an okay player to a good player to a great player. You can do that with time. I just hope he's given that time. Now, how is he going to be developed? Is he going to be in the G League with the South Bay Lakers, or is he going to be in the NBA on the job, not getting up? It'll be interesting to see. It's like we always say with baseball, like, if you're going to call up Jackson Merrill, he's got to play
all the time.
And he has, to their credit. But Jackson Merrill, as a 21-year-old, can't play every seventh day. If he's playing every seventh day, put him in AAA.
Yeah. Like, Bronny's not going to get better in the league if
he's not playing.
And
he's not Jackson. He's not going to get the opportunities Jackson Merrill's been afforded to him.
By the way, just thinking about this.
Yeah.
Just imagine in Lakers practices,
right?
If Bronny's going up against LeBron, like they're on opposite sides. Dude, what?
It's going to be crazy.
Like, what if someone gives a hard foul to his kid? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
It's just
even on floor together. LeBron will probably give looks to his son. I mean, LeBron's highly competitive. Is it just gonna be that's okay? You missed the winning shot, son. No, I mean, dude, this is the NBA.
This has all the makings of turning out to be a disaster. Potentially,
it could potentially be. All right, Darnay Trip, NBC7. We'll get his thoughts on that. And Keyshawn Johnson, Jaden Ledee, and the Padres opening a series and a road trip tomorrow night in Boston. Darnay Trip, friend of the show, NBC7, joins us next. All right, so if you're a veteran, listen up. Did you know that you can access up to 100% of your home's equity right now? Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. You can do it with Loan Pronto's VA Equity Advantage program. You can get 30, 50, 100 grand or more and use that money to pay off all those credit cards and personal loans, car loans, or maybe use the cash to do that home improvement project. Veterans love working with Loan Pronto because they make it easy. No junk fees, no hassle. They can unlock that cash in your home's equity in a matter of weeks. Don't keep paying insane rates on credit cards. There's a smarter alternative with Loan Pronto. Get more info. Start the process now at loanpronto.com. Or if your current VA loan rate is over 6.5%, Loan Pronto can get you in a streamlined refinance with a lower rate right now with no income verification, no appraisal. Lower your monthly payment big time. Loan Pronto makes it so easy for veterans. You can call now, 619-207-4336. 619-207-4336. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres have an off day today. They start a road trip starting tomorrow in Boston through Boston and Texas. And the NBA draft completed today. Shocker, Bronny James got drafted by guess who? Oh, yeah, those Los Angeles Lakers to play with his dad. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs. Some even on the same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchases. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim with you until 6 p.m. We do have Jim's back page still ahead. We will give away New Kids on the Block tickets, by the way, during this 5 o'clock hour as well. Now, we're going to connect momentarily, if we haven't already, with Darnay Tripp NBC7, who
Pick up your phone, Darnay.
What could you possibly be doing?
I'm going to text him right now.
Yeah, text him.
Pick up your phone.
Pick up your phone. We texted for 4 hours today.
Hold on.
And we buried the lead. We want you on the show right now.
Pick up your phone.
He said 5 p.m., right?
Oh,
okay. We got him. All right.
We have him.
All right. Here's my first question for Darnay. Darnay Tripp, NBC7. How do you forget? We texted for 3 hours today. Now, most of it was not about you joining the show.
We said we were best friends.
But here was my question to start. And it's fine that you forgot about us because Jim forgets about the show a lot too. Here's my first question. We talked about this earlier. Were you somewhat surprised you got the wedding invite? I know we're a month out now. Was that at all surprising to you or not?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I forget how it came about. I probably asked for it. Did I ask for the wedding invite?
I think on air you may have.
Jim was like, yeah, sure. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Well, I guess we're going to your wedding. And I'm glad I did because it was a great wedding. It was super fun and it was nice to hang out. So, no regrets, but yeah, maybe a little bit. I think I even thought about it this weekend. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I've hung out with Jim outside of
the wedding,
a game at Petco Park or these radio hits and that sort of thing. But no, I'm glad it worked out.
Well, you made the list, so I mean, maybe one day we'll hang out outside of work or talking on the phone or whatever the case may be.
Probably not.
I feel pretty special about it. I'm not going to lie. It feels good. I consider myself one of the fortunate ones.
Well, that's good, Darnay. Welcome to the group. So the Padres right now, would you consider them playing their best baseball of the season?
That's a good question. It sure seems that way. I was looking at the numbers from the last week. I mean, they're hitting 325 with an 850 OPS the team, averaging 6+ runs a game, hitting homers. I think they obviously went through a stretch where starting pitching at least was stronger because they had quality starts every single game for 5 games in a row. But then they lost all of them. So it seems like the contributions are a little bit more even from that standpoint. You got Dylan Cease pitching at kind of his early season Cy Young level. Matt Waldron's been really, really good. And they've been able to overcome, those games where they're not getting super high level starting pitching because of their offense, timely hits, and that sort of thing. And I think it puts so much pressure on the lineup to score. It puts so much pressure on the rotation to shove because the lineup was so spotty. It seems like they're kind of getting everything a little bit more situated at the right time, even if starting pitching isn't lights out every single day. It's good enough. The lineup's been really good, obviously, in the last week. And so I think they're close to that level. I don't know if I'd say far and away yes, but it does kind of feel that way because the results have gone in their favor.
Darnay Tripp, NBC7 with us, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. In your eyes, how big of a concern are the injuries that apparently, at least in the short term, they've overcome?
Well, and the thing is, they have to now overcome another one, right? They've been able to overcome Xander Bogaerts. They've been able to some degree with Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, fill in with Randy Vasquez and Adam Major and just kind of hope for the best. But I think when you have a new injury that pops up in the last week, on Monday, obviously the Nats series went in their favor, but with it being a long season and you've got Jerks and Profar who's already gimpy, you've got Manny seeming to kind of get on the right side of his elbow and hip deal. It feels like you're a bit on a razor's edge from that standpoint. And, you have the emotional high of this week immediately after the Fernando news, but I think to a degree, you got to give it a couple weeks, not knowing how long he's going to be out to kind of see how these things settle. The good news is like Xander seems to be progressing. And so hopefully when he gets back, he's useful Xander Bogaerts and can contribute regularly. But it's hard for me to answer that question when potentially like the most worrisome of those injuries and most impactful of those injuries still seems sort of fresh.
Name me a better or more impactful moment that Manny Machado has had in his time in a Padres uniform other than Tuesday night.
That's a good question. I'm trying to think of the great Manny moments. I know he homered in the NLCS against the Phillies, but I want to say that game was kind of in hand at that point. There was a homer against the Dodgers, but they lost that game, right, in 2020?
Yeah, it was at Dodger Stadium, yeah.
No, it was in
game one?
No, it was game one in Texas.
Okay.
Game one in Texas.
Against Kershaw.
Yeah, I remember that.
With Gratterall. I'm trying to think. I mean, that might be the one. I mean, to be honest. I mean, it was definitely like off the top of my head. I mean, I can't remember like a cooler, more kind of mind-blowing home run, just given the moment and all that from Manny Machado. So you might be right from that standpoint when, obviously he's contributed along the way, but to do that in a moment like that, I don't know if I think if there was an obvious answer, one of us would have come up with it already, but I don't know if I can think of one just off the top of my head.
Darn Night Trip with us here, NBC7, Jon and Jim. So we're a month out from the trade deadline. That's a lot of baseball, but for the Padres, it's not as much as other teams. There's a lot of off days. Of course, the All-Star break everyone has. They're playing something like 17 games in the next 26 days. So it's not a million games here between now and the trade deadline. So what's your order of business if you're AJ Preller? Knowing things could change, but what would you expect him to potentially try to tackle in the weeks ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously rotation, for every team, it's kind of the easy answer. And with these lingering injuries, that seems to be the one that jumps out to you most. And obviously it's going to be a competitive market. You're going to have to pay to get one of those guys, but we're just at a point where, how much confidence can you have that you're going to get long stretches with Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove? You want to believe that's the case, but when it's been, better part of 2 seasons or a good percentage of these 2 seasons where you haven't been able to rely on them being healthy, you say you've got to go in that direction. Offensively, obviously, the outfield is with Tatis, with, hopefully Profar is able to stay healthy and stay on the field. I think looking for a bat, obviously, and that's something we talked about even before the Fernando Tatis injury, and finding somebody that can maybe hit lefties more consistently. Now, that hasn't been quite as much of an issue last week or so, but, an area of weakness for the club. But I think certainly starting pitching, and yesterday was just another example of like when Robert Suarez isn't pitching the 9th inning and you're trying to lock up a win, it can be a bit of a roller coaster. Sorry, Mike Schilt. But that, another one of those issues where just like, whether it's a righty or a lefty, what have you, somebody that you can count on to protect a 4-6 run lead and not have to burn Suarez. Fortunately, yesterday was a situation where they got through it and they're going into an off day. So it wouldn't have been maybe the end of the world, but certainly, firming up the bullpen a little bit beyond Suarez, especially since Jeremiah Estrada, given the illness and since his hot streak has not been quite as lights out as he was before.
With the assumption that Darvish, Musgrove, Tatis, and Bogaerts will all return at some point this season, pick one that's going to make the biggest impact for the remainder of the year.
Is this a real question?
It's that easy with Tatis.
Is it easy?
I think I might not be able to say that when I just talked about the need for starting pitching.
Mhm.
I think Tatis name that like jumps off the page. Obviously, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. This with the assumption that you're getting kind of an all-star level Fernando Tatis Jr., which he's been to this case. But if you plug in, all-star level Musgrove, Yu Darvish, performance as well, I still think I go with Tatis just because like the ceiling and the potential is just so great, and he does things and he offers things that you're just not going to get from anyone else, and it's an everyday situation as opposed to every 5 days. So while it's something you do have to think about, I still think I come around to Fernando Tatis Jr. You can make arguments for the other guys, but he's just kind of a game changer, I think, in ways that others aren't. And back to kind of the original conversation with what they've done offensively, they've shown that they can kind of overcome some games where maybe they're not getting like super lights out work from the mound. And obviously having a guy like Fernando Tatis Jr., compared to Xander Bogaerts, who just, we haven't seen it consistently enough to feel like he could offer that at this point.
I feel like the response to a question of, is that a real question, is like you're an idiot, basically.
Which
translation.
is right. Thank you,
thanks.
Darnay. Now you're welcome anytime now. Darnay Tripp, NBC7 with us right now on Jon and Jim. I want to give.
Was that a Mike Schilt? I feel like that might have been a Mike Schilt. I'm sorry.
You pulled a Mike Schilt on
Well,
me.
Schilt's 3 games over 500.
Is that a real question to who? You?
Yeah, exactly. Darnay, any thoughts here on Bronny James, 55th overall?
Give me your hot take.
To the Lakers.
Give me your hot take.
Do you have any thoughts on why this is appropriate or inappropriate for the Lakers today in the second round?
Oh no, I haven't. This is really bad modern media of me to not have like a hot take fully formed in the oven, ready at any moment to drop on Twitter or drop in a conversation with one of you guys. I think I've probably just been resigned to this sort of being the outcome. And I'm more so just curious, like, how in the world is this all going to play out with a new and inexperienced head coach that I think people have some concerns is kind of already in LeBron James' pocket a little bit. And there's obviously the excitement about Bronny from some people, but I know some diehard Laker fans as well that are like, what are we doing? What has happened to this franchise? So I'm more so just watching at a distance as somebody who's not been a Laker fan in my personal experience. I'm curious to see how this all plays out, and I can enjoy whatever comes without having any rooting interest in the matter. So that's my bad not hot take.
Well, if anything, this has created probably some of the best meme content on social media that we've gotten in a while, and will continue, by the way, as his career progresses with the Lakers while LeBron is playing with them. Just phenomenal content. This
is part of why I forgot that I was on with you guys, is I haven't been on Twitter now in like 2 or 3 hours.
How?
What?
Huh?
We were
Sounds
recording
terrible.
the On Fryer podcast. We were watching the United States lose to Panama.
Boo.
And I kept getting this 844 number blowing up my phone. I was like, what's the deal here?
But hold on.
Here we are.
The U.S., I didn't realize they lost because I feel like we talked about 2 hours ago or someone said they were up.
We've got a lot of going on.
So is this an upset? Is this what are the ramifications of them losing here tonight in Copa America?
My understanding is this is not a good result for the United States.
Okay.
They scored early. Then Tim Weah seemed to punch a guy in the back of the head, got a red card. Then they played with 10 men the rest of the way, and then Panama won, and they scored in like the 85th minute or something like that. And U.S. soccer continues to leave a lot to be desired.
Well, I'll send you some Bronny James memes and stuff on Twitter so you get caught up, okay?
I also almost sent you a really mean column about the San Francisco 49ers from a Philly writer. So if you want, I can send that to you.
Send that back, yeah. We're doing the group chat.
Yeah.
We'll have him on the show tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Darnay, always appreciate it. Thanks for picking up eventually. We'll do it again soon.
Oh, my pleasure. And any weddings you guys need guests at, just hit me up.
Okay.
You're welcome.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. Darnay Tripp, our buddy with NBC 7. All right. So there's a lot going on. Again, Padres in less than 24 hours open this series against the Red Sox. Bronny, he didn't have hot takes on.
Boo!
What'd you just send him? Oh, you're sending the memes now?
Dude,
You're sending everything
it's
Bronny related?
just like stuff on Twitter. That I just sent
Yeah.
is hilarious.
Yeah, that is hilarious. We're not going to read that on air.
Can't say it on air, but just go to my Twitter. You'll see it.
So it really is the story. I mean, you know us, and we spent so much time talking about the Padres. We talk about San Diego State. We spent a lot of time earlier talking about Bronny to the Lakers because when we started the show at 3 p.m., I think he was drafted within 5 minutes. I think Shams initially reported at like 3:05, like he's going to be drafted 55th overall. And it's been a huge story, and it will be, obviously, this offseason.
Because the pick happened. We got on the
air.
We
were just on the air.
Pick 52 or 3.
Yeah, there were like 6 picks left in the draft.
Right.
We're like, look, is Bronny going to go? I said, hey, I think 2 of 3 will go out of Bronny, Keyshawn, Jaden. It was only one. It was Bronny. And then Keyshawn got signed by the Heat. Great. 2-way deal. We're waiting on Jaden Ledee. And here we are.
Here we are.
By the way, Summer League starts July 12th.
The day after we get back from
Vegas. We're there for Circus Sports Mountain West Media Days.
Correct.
The 10th and 11th. And then the U.S. Olympic team with LeBron James will be in Paris at the end of July.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then all of a sudden you'll have another NBA season and a training camp, and we'll be talking about LeBron and Bronny, you know, in training camp and getting ready for the season and what's going to happen. And
what if all these scenarios of like, say in practice, Bronny makes a bad pass, LeBron picks it off, Bronny's running down the court to try to stop his dad, and he gets in a position where like LeBron James dunks over his son in practice, and some media member sees it, and then it blows up everywhere. Like, oh my God, LeBron dunked over Bronny in practice. Like, they're gonna have to play on the same side every single time.
I mean, well, hold on. They've been playing basketball against each other, with each other for a while, right? Like, as family met, like, you know, one-on-one, and having buddies over.
Dude, you can't treat the NBA like buddy one-on-one.
But I'm just saying, I feel like the two of them can likely navigate it.
So
like, LeBron's thought about this for a long time.
So there was one of those corny like training videos in New York from the other day with him, Bronny, and Bryce. And dude, just watching their just like
I saw that
drills they were going through.
Yeah. They're getting after it.
Well, the gap, and I know LeBron's been in the league for 21 years, but
are you saying LeBron's better?
I'm saying the gap between like an NBA workout and what you're seeing from like Bronny is just a Grand Canyon size gap as far as just the skill set goes. And I mean, LeBron never misses. And by the way,
you're saying in practice.
And by the way, the size difference, like Bronny's not big.
He's not big, yeah.
LeBron is twice as big as Bronny, it feels like.
That'd be amazing.
I'm serious. Like, he looks twice as big as his son that just got drafted in the NBA.
Remember, that was controversial because SC listed him at 6'4".
And he's 6'1".
Right. And then when he measured, he was 6'1", 6'1.5". And by NBA standards, correct me if I'm wrong, that's undersized. Right? There's not a ton of 6'1" guards. Like, I know that there's a second round pick, KJ Simpson, good player. They're like, he's undersized. He's 6'1" or 6'1".
Steph is 6'3".
Right.
And that's like considered small.
And you can't compare Steph, obviously, to anyone because of his ridiculous abilities that go beyond his, intangibles or his measurables.
It sucks for Bronny because he's not going to, if he's on the NBA roster, he's not going to play. He's not going to get any time to develop. The only time he gets going to develop is in practice, but that's not good enough because you need to play NBA minutes. If he's not in the G League, man, this whole thing is just amateur hour, honestly. You hired LeBron's podcast partner as your head coach.
It's a good podcast, though.
And then drafted his son. I mean, just say that out loud. That is crazy that
Are you
happened.
saying they're trying to appease him?
You think?
Is that what you're saying here?
Who runs the Lakers organization?
Right.
It's not Rob Pelinka, and it's not Jeannie Buss. It's Clutch and LeBron.
You're talking about Bronny's height.
Yeah.
Put it this way. When the season started last year, there was only 6 players in the entire league that were under 6 foot.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's not under 6 foot.
Well, I know,
I
but
can't believe there's 6 players in the league under 6 foot.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, when, in the 90s, there's like there's a whole bunch of 5'11" guys and stuff like that. But yeah, there's only 6.
Well, what do we like to say? Stay tuned.
And again, too, it's a thing where Giannis's brother, right?
Brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Okay. They don't have this pressure on them to like go out there and
True.
No, they
play
get
or
crap
anything.
all the time because the
Right.
only reason they're on the team
Is
is
because
because
their
of
last
their
name.
brother.
not nationally. You don't
Right.
see
Well,
national
no,
shows talking.
because the Bucks didn't waste a draft pick on him, and
that too.
they didn't
Well,
like
that
have
too.
And the Bucks
media hype
aren't-
about it.
And
They
the Bucks
signed
have
him
been great,
quietly
but
in the
with,
offseason.
with all due respect, the Bucks ain't the Lakers.
and Giannis is not LeBron,
Exactly.
not even close.
Right.
And no one's having entire shows dedicated to talking about LeBron. Or
Well,
excuse
no
me,
one's having shows talking about Giannis.
Giannis, excuse me, Giannis. They're having shows dedicated to LeBron, and you just put your son under your giant shadow that unfortunately he's never going to be able to get out from at all. And maybe he could have if he went somewhere else, because he could have created his own path. But you just kind of, I'm sorry, I don't see how you can't think to yourself that you did not screw your son over by making this happen.
All right. On the other side, we're giving away New Kids on the Block tickets. Plus, we have Jim's back page. Plus, something happened yesterday that didn't involve the Padres that directly impacts them. And we'll share that on the other side with you until 6 p.m. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, we have New Kids on the Block tickets. We'll give away on the other side, plus Jim's back page, plus something that happened yesterday that directly impacts the Padres next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, they have an off day today. They start their 6-game road trip through Boston and Texas starting tomorrow night in Boston. And the NBA draft has concluded today. Keyshawn Johnson, he was not drafted, but he was signed to a 2-way contract by the Miami Heat. Jaden Ledee, he has not been signed yet as an unrestricted free agent as of right now. And in the least surprising news of the day, Bronny James got drafted today by the Lakers and his dad. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even on the same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchases. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
Interesting piece from Bryce Miller, okay, in the UT. Welcome to Wrexham TV show.
Yes.
Low-level professional soccer team in England.
Yes.
Well, Ron Fowler and other minority owners of the Padres have purchased a club in that league, Lincoln City FC. 2014 league. This is in the English Football League One, the third tier of the revered soccer ball chasing sport in England, per Bryce Miller. So third best league in England. Lincoln City is in the same league as Wrexham, and one of the other minority owners is like the leader here, but Ron Fowler is part of the group. And Landon Donovan is like an advisor for this group as well that just purchased this club in England.
Will Ron Fowler at fan summits call out certain players and say they suck?
Heads will roll if we don't beat Wrexham on Saturday.
And then have fans
Heads will roll.
secretly record it and then release it to the media.
I don't know.
And then everyone's like, wait, he said whose head's going to roll?
But like,
What?
this is one of these things, like, not on my bingo card. Not on my bingo card that I would have just said that. Ron Fowler and other Padres minority owners have bought a club in the English Football League. In the same, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. Okay, so Padres Red Sox. So listen to this. The Red Sox were supposed to throw a bullpen day Saturday, just because, for whatever reason. I don't know if they had a doubleheader in there, or the way the schedule was aligned for them, but they were rained out yesterday. So they benefit from that. The Padres would have otherwise benefited. So tomorrow it's Nick Pivetta for Boston against Randy Vasquez. And then Boston's got a really good start throwing Saturday. Again, this was supposed to be a bullpen day. They're going to throw Tanner Houck, who's got a 2 ERA on Saturday. And then they've got a guy that's made 13 or 14 appearances on Sunday with a 3.26. But because Boston didn't play yesterday, they don't have to use a bullpen day on Saturday. So the one time the weather hasn't really worked in the Padres' favor. Padres have played like 7 or 8 more games than other teams in baseball. Still, as late as now, almost the first of July.
They have the same amount of wins as the Braves. Yet the Braves have played 7 less games than them.
That makes no sense.
It's not just because of Korea.
No, it's like, yeah, that only explains 2 games.
Right, 2 games. So the Padres have gotten seemingly through, I guess you could argue, the tough part of their schedule with no off days, because
And there's been no rainouts for the Padres, not just here, but elsewhere.
yeah,
But I mean, I guess it's been made up, though.
in Atlanta it's been made up.
It's been made up.
Yeah.
Where other teams might be waiting on rainouts.
So if I'm looking here at okay, they have a million off days in July. They have 3 off days in August, and then September they have 5 off days. So they
it's
have
crazy.
5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, including today. The rest of the season, John, they have 17 off days.
That's so many.
That is so many, because if you're looking at the start of their season here,
There's like none.
they had like what, 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah.
So 8 in the first half, 17 with the All-Star break in the second half.
Yeah.
Big advantage.
Huge
If you think about it, let's just say 90 days left of the year. If it's 3 months, it's more than that, but whatever. Just say 90. 17 out of 90 off by baseball standards is
It's an
absurd.
eternity.
That's 1 out of every 6 days for the rest of the year.
Like it's in the NFL, you go, man, hit that 5 week at the end of the season.
Right. They got
Instead of
buys
week, like
everywhere.
5.
I think
Padres
yeah.
are dealing with a situation here where hopefully these off days benefit them in a huge way.
I agree with you. I mean, you never know. You
Yeah.
don't. It's not like off days guarantee success.
Baseball, you know, it's like
You don't know.
you want to keep going and
Yeah.
playing
Yeah,
and
you
not
play
have
You play the team. It doesn't matter you have the day before. It's not the end of the deal. But you think it could be beneficial getting guys like Tatis, Musgrove, whomever back without playing a zillion games. Like you said, the next 26 days they play 17 games.
You know who it's really going to help? Oh,
Yes,
hopefully,
I agree with that.
because playing every day for him is tough. It's tough. All these off days, maybe this means he's playing more third base instead of having a DH a couple times. Because I mean, to play every single day at third base with his elbow issue right now, that's tough. And hopefully, this helps him not only get back on track permanently, which he is back on track. I mean, he's hot, but like stay hot and have an insane July or a really good August or even like a really good September, like because of these off days, helping him recover and not having to play every single day. 17 off days for the remainder 90 games of the season what?
It's amazing.
Wow. I don't think we're talking about that.
We've been talking about it. I mean, not maybe in those exact terms. We've always kind of said, like, we try to compare it to something. It's like building up equity or like knowing that heading down the back stretch, you're going to have, there's definitely an advantage there. I don't know what it's going to mean, but it's advantageous. The question is, do you take advantage of it? I know it's advantageous, but do you take advantage of it? You might be saying, well, what do you mean it's advantageous? What Jim just said, but I also told you that over the next 26 days, if they want to use 4 starters, use 4 starters. If you've got every 4th or 5th day off, you can keep guys on normal rest, and you don't have to, throw Randy Vasquez if you don't want to. You don't have to throw Adam Major every single time if you don't want to. Again, that's another advantage that the Padres are going to possess that other teams aren't going to have. So you're right. I think it's an advantage. Can they take advantage of it? Remains to be seen.
We'll
stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. I love how people are like, you guys need to just like not talk about the team in big generalities until like we see what happens. Like that's
just wait till September 19th.
Wait till September and then we'll talk about the team. Like I don't know. Like no, that's not what we do. That's not our job. We work in every like a 24-hour cycle all the time. And so we are now in a cycle of they're playing really good baseball. When they weren't playing good baseball, and hopefully this is a turning of the corner moment where you can get some ground here away from 500 in the positive direction. So it helps you when you have another bad stretch and it doesn't completely kill you, where you all of a sudden are like 5 games under because you had a bad stretch. Instead, it's like if you have a period of time where you're like 7 or 8 games over 500 and 4 in a row, it's not gonna like kill you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And again, this road trip we both said earlier, 3-3, I'm okay with it. If that's what happens, if we talk about this 6 days from now, and they happen to have gone 3-3, we just saw them go 1-5 on the road. They're playing really good baseball right now. Yeah, I prefer better. Everyone would, and I think if they do better, this team is one of the hottest teams in baseball for a long stretch. But 3-3 for Boston, Texas, it's not the worst thing in the world. I know that. Based on what happened with the New York Mets 10 days ago or whatever, they got swept. I know 3-3 would not be the worst thing in the world.
It would not be. Frankly, I think I might sign up for that right now, just because it doesn't hurt them. And you come back home, still 3 games over, and you played really well at home the last couple of homestands here. You're what?
11-3 was the last 2 homestands.
11-3 in your last 2 homestands. If you can finish off the first half with another really good homestand where you go.
Before the All-Star break? Yeah, it's not that many.
Say it's
17? No, it's
I'm talking about their home.
Okay.
So they play here. Arizona, Seattle, Atlanta. Okay. 7 games. No, 8 games.
Okay.
3. You go 6-2 in that stretch. You come home. Yeah. So you're what, 7 games over at the break?
Imagine saying that when they were 37-40. When they were facing Rangers, Suarez, Philadelphia with this 1-1 ERA. On the heels of a 5-game losing streak for the 3rd time already in the first half. Could they, and talking about being 4 games, like they were 300, they were on the brink.
You were like, just be 2 games over, we'll be fine.
It's funny how, again, seasons are long, there are twists and turns, adversity, call it a roller coaster, and right now they're on the uptick. They're on the uptick.
Because you look at their schedule out of the break, John.
Oh, it's tough.
Let's say best case scenario. They finish hot. Say they go 3-3 this road trip.
Okay.
Go 6-2 at home in their final 8 games.
That means they're 7 over.
7-0. All right. That's just
Now they're at the break.
that's best case scenario.
It's
Right?
amazing.
That's best case scenario.
Everyone's taking that.
Best case
Sure.
scenario. No question about it. We're taking that in a heartbeat.
Right.
Their schedule after the break here is a 10-gamer through Cleveland, Washington. Sorry, 9-gamer through Cleveland, Washington, and Baltimore.
All of those are tough.
That is a tough series.
Even Washington, with what we just saw, that's tough.
Yeah.
Second time around, their place.
Yep.
No gimme there.
Then you come home and you play the Dodgers for 2.
Short series, but not easy.
But you played the Dodgers well this year. Though.
Yep, they have.
So that's good. But still, it's
Not easy.
Not easy. I mean, you gotta, I feel like, get a little bit of wiggle room before the start of that second half.
Right. Get to the 7 over where if you happen to play 2 games under 500 there, 3 games under, you can survive it. Yep, you can do it. All right. Who wants New Kids on the Block tickets? I know Jim does. Do any of our listeners? Caller 7, you can have them. We have 2 free tickets to see New Kids on the Block July 7th, about a week and a half away, at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. All you need to do right now is call. Caller 7, they are yours. The number to call is 877-767-4760. Again, the number to call, you can do it right now for 2 free tickets to see New Kids on the Block is 877-767-4760. Call right now. Caller 7, they are yours. Jim's back page is next. All right, Jim's back page. Next. All right, Jon Jim back with you. A final time here, San Diego Sports 760. I mentioned this briefly before we get to Jim's back page that like Sean Lewis and his staff have been on this like recruiting binge.
A lot of players.
And Kirk Kenny wrote about it the other day. But like, how many players has it been? It's been impossible to keep up with. They've added 15 verbal commits for the 2025 class, including 3 local prospects, Cathedral Catholics, D lineman Sidney DePoy, La Jolla High's edge rusher Jet Thomas, Mount Miguel High's corner Braylon Cardwell. They've added some of the top players in the state of California and elsewhere during this really remarkable flurry of activity for Sean Lewis and his staff. So, again, these are verbal commits. There's no guarantee that they'll sign when the class of 2025 has to sign, but it's hard to argue that Sean Lewis and his staff aren't doing a really good job right now on the recruiting trail. And from what I'm reading, I think it's somewhat atypical from what San Diego State previously had done in terms of the high school recruiting and getting this many verbals this early. So good job by Sean Lewis and his staff. All right, let's get to this.
You're sitting down, right? Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I'm sitting.
Are you okay?
I can confirm I'm sitting. Do you have something that's going to blow my mind right now?
I just
want to have to do with tofu or kombucha.
McDonald's has declared its experiment with plant-based burgers is over.
No.
Good.
Why? I can't. Is it selling too well?
They said the McPlant was, quote,
McPlant. Sounds terrible. It says you're getting a tree.
Was not successful in either market that they tested it out in.
Because they named it McPlant. They should have called it McAwesome.
But then they'd be lying.
That's fine.
Yeah. The
why
quote said, I don't think the U.S. Consumer is coming to McDonald's or looking for McPlant.
That's the problem.
Or other plant-based proteins from McDonald's.
That hurts. Do they still do salads?
No.
That's the thing. It's like, I guess people aren't going there for that.
Yeah, they said it was a, quote, disaster.
I'm going to open up a place called McPlant.
The plant-based patty is made from ingredients including peas, rice, and potatoes.
Sounds amazing.
It was served on a sesame seed bun with tomato, lettuce, ketchup, pickles, onions, mayonnaise, and American cheese.
What 2 markets, though? Maybe they were in the wrong markets. Where were they testing this?
San Francisco and Fort Worth, Texas.
No, they should have tested
Or
it here.
Dallas, Fort Worth, sorry.
Should have tested it here.
Well,
I would have bought one.
if they're gonna if they tested in a
'cause
market,
there's no vegetarians in San Francisco.
yeah, if they tested in a market where they seem like it's gonna like do well in, they need to test it in a market where
Yeah, they don't want to preach to the choir, John.
Yeah.
They gotta
Right.
well,
they
have
do-
people that might not like it try it.
Right.
yeah, they need to others like they know they have their They're-
You're sold. They need to sell
Yeah.
me and
Yeah,
Jim
yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
exactly, and I'm not eating that.
Yeah, I'm
anymore.
not.
I will.
Well, too bad because you're not going to be able to because they discontinued it because it was
Because you didn't
disaster.
eat enough of them, John.
Taco Bell is launching a $7 Lux Craving Box. Taco Bell is joining other fast food chains by offering a value-priced meal. The $7 Lux Cravings Box features 4 items and a medium drink. It's packed with a Chalupa Supreme, beefy 5-layer burrito, and double stacked taco along with chips and nacho cheese. The chain said that the box represents a 55% savings when compared to the suggested menu price for each individual item.
Okay, so it would have been $15. They're pricing it for $7.
Correct. Taco Bell also offers a $5 taco discovery box and its craving value menu featuring items priced at $3 or less.
Okay.
Does that intrigue you, John?
Not me particularly, but it sounds like a good value. I think 7 is reasonable.
The cravings menu isn't bad.
Right.
They got
Okay.
a lot of stuff in
All
there.
right, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Taco Bell.
Do most people do Taco Bell in that 11 to like 2 a.m.? Like, are they doing a lot of business late?
Bro, Taco Bell is the munchy, like,
Yeah,
I
capital.
can do Taco Bell at any
Anytime.
time though.
Okay.
yeah, Taco Bell is, you
I'm
got the munchies? Go to Taco Bell.
I'm not one of them snobs that's like, oh, I can only eat Taco Bell when I'm drunk.
Right.
It's like, no, I can eat Taco Bell
Anytime.
at any time.
Okay.
2 large asteroids, John, are coming towards Earth.
I don't believe it.
Should we cancel our plans for this weekend?
I think we should just cancel everything. But they will safely pass by Earth.
Oh, shocking. It's amazing how that always happens.
At least one of them, though, will be visible with a small telescope. So if you have a telescope out there, you can see an asteroid passing by Earth
What am I supposed to do? Just look up all night, like all weekend?
and thinking to yourself, man, if that thing came at us, we'd all be dead right now. The first and largest is asteroid 2011 UL21.
Can we
What-
name that thing John and Jim?
It's one of the largest asteroids that will pass by Earth this year. The asteroid has a diameter of nearly 1.5 miles, making it larger than 99% of all near-Earth objects. But thankfully, it's going to pass by Earth at a safe distance of over 4 million miles away.
Yeah, it's like saying, oh my gosh, there's sharks in the ocean. Yeah, but I'm on land.
Watch, they forgot to carry a 1 or something. We're all dead.
Like,
well, that's the thing.
oh.
We can't do anything about it.
Like, oh, did we say 4 million miles? We meant 4 miles. Uh-oh.
4 miles is still better than hitting us.
Bro, 4 miles? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
What? I had no problem with 4 miles.
That would be like in the atmosphere.
That's
Who
in the we're
cares?
dead
So we
at
can
4
look at-
miles.
Why? No, 0 miles we're dead.
No. 4 miles, Earth the gravitational pull will suck that asteroid in and we're all dead, buddy.
Dude, you don't know 16 times 9 and you know that?
Yes. Have you ever watched any type of asteroid movie?
144, by the way.
144 what?
16 times 9.
Okay, great. But still, 4 miles, we're dead. We're done.
4 million, even if it's 40,000, who cares?
Yeah, watch that Elijah Wood movie. Jeez.
We have no control. This happened to the dinosaurs. They paid the price.
So what's our excuse?
We would pay the price if it happens. It would probably impact the Padres Red Sox series, but it could work out from a pitching rotation.
How is it going to affect Bronny's legacy?
Right.
Exactly.
How is an asteroid coming towards Earth? About that one. That's
Right.
the theme of
I
today.
have no concern over it. I have no control. I trust the process.
I don't trust the process.
All right. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. If you're listening to us on the podcast, please leave a review as well. You can find us on social media. Search for Jon and Jim. That's Jon and Jim. That's JONANDJIM. And we're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Kevin Acey on the show. Will Fleming, radio voice of the Red Sox as well. We'll get you ready for Padres Red Sox Game 1 tomorrow at Fenway. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Bye.